Hello and welcome back to the Real Music Talks. Today's guest is Christopher Cannon, another guy all the way over from the US. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, Dan, good man. Thanks for having me.
No problem, absolute pleasure. So for people that are listening that don't know you, never heard of you before, how would you describe yourself and your involvement in the music industry?
Well, I probably first I'd use a little cowbell. Sorry about that, Dan. And then I'd just say, man, I was here in like 2011, so when I graduated. So like 2012 came around, and it's just like a time, it was like I was going into college and I was studying broadcasting, like radio and television. So it kind of like it was all right. It was interesting. I just quickly realized I wasn't into like the business of that. So like I was really interested in production. I was like doing a radio show for a little bit. So I actually basically just kind of went from like that format to like wanting to make the introductions for the radio show. And so it's like I just started using GarageBand we like abstractly, and then it evolved, and man, it's like it's just like amazing, like making music. That program, I kind of fell in love. Like my influences, some of my close friends were like trying to make music, during that time, and there was a lot of like noise, like everybody's doing it. So it was like I realized that like I just had to keep making stuff, producing. So it evolved. Like I started to make mixes, and like I was basically teaching myself music like as I made music. So it's like I evolved quickly into like a publisher, really, because like I moved to, or well, I moved out, like I went to Tunisia a little bit, and got to work with some people there, and I made like some music there, and that's when I realized like I made the connection. It's like this isn't too hard. Like I can more bad music, and then just kind of delete it or like evolve with that, and like learn more as I go. Like that was kind of like how I got into it.
It's interesting because it's not a typical route because quite often people would learn like an instrument or something and then move over to production, but you're almost like production first and then you're learning the music side of it at the same time. Talk to me a bit about that like process, like what's kind of the interplay between like the approach of actually producing and putting music out versus actually like composing music, if that makes sense, like focusing on melodies versus sounds, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. It's a good question. Like, it's good to have the fundamental knowledge, and everybody like has their different experience with music, but like I really value music, like and so like my when I realized that I like loved creation and transcendence. I was in a class, and it was Chad 2 was my professor at USI, and there was just something. It was a media class, really, and it was about communications media class, and it was like he talked to us about how Bob was using the acoustic guitar, and he had this fan base, and they were like kind of like folkish, kind of rockabilly, like kind of like conservatives. And then he kind of like got into the electric, and then that first song, like the first like session that he had with that was just like incredible, and he completely like it was just powerful, and he like changed his fan base, and it was really really like energetic, and that's what I fell in love with. I was like, he talked about right when Chad said transcendence. I was just like, I'm gonna be here for a while, man. Like there's something we're doing. It's cool.
Makes sense. So do you want to give me a bit of your story then in terms of your journey so far? You know, like right from the start all the way to like present day in terms of what you're doing now with music.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, it's like really abstract. Like 2017, I went to Copenhagen, and I stayed with some Hare Krishna monks, and I got introduced to the movement that they're doing, and the chanting. It really like helped me, and it was there at such a like perfect time for me, because I was like making this, like I'm going back on my learning, because it's like I got to teach myself music theory now to be better, and like to be able to collaborate and flow with other artists who are like well versed in like measure. You got to talk measures, you got to talk keys and all that. So like and timing, like I know that's important, that's what's coming up. But trying to get back to like your question, kind of, it's just really like I don't know, preparing for that, gauging for that, I guess. Is that a good answer?
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I guess I'm thinking more like step by step, you know, like what are all the steps that you've sort of taken, if that makes sense to date, like in terms of like a history timeline. you know?
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, like it was easy like at first to like just post stuff on SoundCloud or like other like when I started actually distributing it, is whenever I really like got the feeling that it's like possible, and that it's when I started to kind of alienate my friends. I've got some really like talented friends that like inspired me to do this, and it's like I get to this point where it's I'm just like annoying, I guess. It's a bad from right now, I'm like just kind of like I guess you could say struggling with like the climate, the social climate.
Interesting. And do you think music is like an outlet that helps you through that almost?
Yeah, man. It's absolutely a way for me to like, communicate in different levels, or like I just want to like add value to like our community. I feel like there's a lot of like miseducation as far as like what a human is, like what we're here to do, and a lot of that is music.
Yeah, music has got that sort of special kind of magic to it about bringing people together and helping people through tough times. And obviously I'd speak to all the sorts of artists, but they all have that kind of thing in common, if that makes sense. How did you go about learning your skills then? You said you got software and started experimenting, but was it that you watched YouTube tutorials? Was it very much like just a kind of I'll try this, see how it works, and then I'll iterate on that, if that makes sense?
Oh yeah, for me it's like a lot about the raga method. Like you have arpeggios, and like with Apple loops you can just like take one or two loops, one or two instruments, and when you add those other two instruments, it's completely a new song. That's what we're experiencing now with these programs. It's so easy to do that, but you just have to have like the patience, and then there's like there's like tiers to it, there's levels to it. It's like you produce it, you have that competency, and then like the publishing aspect of it. I really really wanted to like understand that, and like get back into school and like re kind of analyze my role here in media, as a mogul. So like yeah, it was just really about that. Like the raga method is like we could talk more about that if you want. Think I'm still learning that, but it kind of goes into like the just like the different um like types of music. There's like Western music, and then there's like Eastern music, and it's all kind of different, but it it's just the raga was like kind of like easier for me to like feel, I guess, or like experience like something that's newer in me, because it's like I am sort of like collaborating with other people, because like I use loops, sometimes. So I mean, it's just about getting a good product, and like getting the utility for it. Now I'm trying to like turn this into a different thing now, like with Web3 and with the development, like the back end. Like it's just there's a lot more that I think we can do in the future with music as like a file, is like they're the most important files, I feel like MP3 wave files, like in everything we're making, like we can like add it, like put it in something now, like a game or like an augment, like a virtual installation, and it can be like art. Like well, I'm kind of okay, so I'm kind of I should slow down, shouldn't I?
You're good. I guess like for people listening, they probably won't be familiar with technologies like Web3. Do you want to sort of explain that in a basic level and how it can
Yeah.
be kind of applied to music?
Yes, yes. So it's I mean like what I can only like tell you what I interpret it as, and a lot of people have other definitions, but it's like the web, the internet has gone through three stages, and it's like this next stage that we're at. It's like there's like just different contracts, and there's more like it's I mean, I feel like the relativity of it's changed, but basically the internet has gone through like three stages, and it's like, what do you think? How am I entering into this?
It's up to you. But I think that does make sense. I mean, for me, I'm still kind of learning about how that could be applied to music because I come from the very organic side of music where you're a musician playing with other people in a room. So
Yeah,
in itself, in my lifespan, I've seen the kind of transition from just raw recording of bands and music in that sense to being able to produce a whole song in using your laptop. Like I've seen that within my lifetime, and it's like what's going to happen in the future, especially with like AI and stuff as well. So it's quite interesting. But I think there's definitely an interplay of, for me, like the technical side of music versus like the emotional side of music, and how those two are going to play out when you start mixing in newer technologies, if that makes sense, because you don't want to lose that sort of like human side to it, because that's often what people connect to it over. But at the same time, there is kind of an element of you might be able to take music to a completely different place and a new level using some of these emerging technologies. That's kind of my opinion. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, yeah, but like I think it's a lot about like decentralization and like creation of the ledger. Like the Web3 technology is like designed to like to make that better and easier. So it's like really beneficial like to our society, and we've entered into this, but like our roles as like in our community, like our roles as a musician has changed because the NFT, has entered into that paradigm. And it's like it's really powerful because it can be traded, and you add value, and they can be like a lot of different things, which is incredible too. And I think that like that's like just that's just where we're going. And there's some like people like community members, there's some organizations that are really really against that because of this. And there's other reasons. There's humanitarian and like spiritual values that play into that. And I think it's like an awakening in a lot of in a large sense for us. Is like we want to have amazing games and stuff, but I feel like a lot of our technology and our like administration, like the government of like it's not like I'm trying to like blame and make the government bad. It's like we're the government, and that's what we have to like feel and understand that. And it's I just don't think. I mean, I'm an American. I'm an American, so it's kind of it chides me a little more, I feel like, than some other people.
Yeah, it makes sense. So back to like your story a little bit. I do want to sort of dig into more like of your story in terms of, like how you got into music really, and what your kind of music journey has been like really to date in terms of like what you've put out, how your music process has developed over time as well. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Okay, yeah. I had like I've got like journals of like each album I made, but basically it's like I make one that's good and I like it. Or and like sometimes like I'm a vocalist too, so like I'll do something like in just like and it's like incomplete. Like most of my music is like I don't care, I don't mind if you add on to it, if you use it for something. Like that's what it's designed for. I'm like I said, I mean I'm teaching myself, like I'm going back on my education, so it's like if I learn theory, I'll win. That's how I'm gonna win. But it's just like about the energy there and the love, man. But like um I don't know, they're bad. Like some of my first my like, a lot of my music was really bad, man. So it took me like 5 albums like to make that. Is like I got to the where it's like I really started applying the raga method with my arpeggiator and using that as like I feel like that. And like I found this didgeridoo, so it's like I play the didgeridoo on the keyboard sometimes, and it's just like there's a lot that I'm doing that is like not really possible, like with like the technology is like letting me do that with the didgeridoo, and I can play like these other instruments. It's just like I just want to have that experience, and I want it to be like valued. I want it to like have a little bit of like utility in the world and this revolution that we're experiencing.
Okay, no, that makes sense. And you mentioned earlier you do collaborate with other artists and stuff as well. What does that sort of process look like? How does that happen?
Yeah, so it's actually it haven't been working out really well, especially here in Ohio. But I've got some other things that I'm working on building a couple of my friends in their projects, and we're going to be kind of turning this into either a record label or like a production company soon. So it's about like we're going to move forward in these new paradigms, and we're going to hopefully be working with a lot of different like international communities, not just with dollars, we'll be working with crypto, we'll be working with other forms of currency, and it's not just like about making money, it's about making this this culture or like counterculture, whatever, in these industries. Like that's, I mean, that's what it's about, man, for me.
That makes sense. So you're thinking of starting a label, you're saying, right?
It's already, yeah, it's already started. Like, I'm a publisher, is what I mean. Like, my music is like your music. Like, I've already seen the change. I know what is happening with these files. I know how important they are, and I'm just here with it. I'm in the way of it in a lot of this, in a sense. I'm sure you feel the same way. Like, you make music. Like, I see your drums there, bro, and it's like you can't explain things, and you can just feel it or do it in rhythm, and that's what I value. That's like, I don't know, man. That's just like, it's what it's about. Because like, I've got to like, there's like steps. I've got a couple goals, that things that I want to achieve. I want to play back live. I've got an idea for like an album, like a live performance with some video, some visual synchronizations, that I want to do, and I've got it like written up. It's just like a matter of like getting there.
And so your plan is to actually like do live performances, right? And do some sort of like audio visual experience. Is that
Yeah,
is
we're,
that right?
we're either going, yeah, I'm working with one of my friends, Baron Jones. Shout out, bro. And he's been doing the same thing. Really, we've been working a lot in the program behind the scenes, and like getting our product better. And then he's played back live a little bit. I have another friend, Daniel, who's played back live, and just like using kind of the music that I have. Like, I've like I've said, I take music down, so it's like I post something bad, and like I got to this point where it's like I have this album that's like, it's not horrible, it's not bad, it's not mastered well, but it's like I know that that's the one that I want to use to start playing back live when I do it. So I mean, maybe I'll do that, maybe not. But just trying to build that project, like for me, with my company now, my production company, and then we're going to like create a label, and I'm going to like be doing what I've been doing for me, publishing the music for them, and then that, hopefully that will add value to like the other things that people are kind of abstract. People may not understand because it's music. Like, it's like it's unintelligible until you find the utility for it. So I mean, like it's like it's I'm at a kind of a critical stage, really. I'm like at a make or break point, you could say.
Okay, makes sense. And you've done a lot of publishing. Do you want to talk about like some of the lessons that you've learned, and what you've kind of experienced in that process of publishing music? Because, you know, I guess from my perspective, I'll have artists on here, for example, that are the opposite to you in that they might be like very experienced in their instrument, but they might have only put out like one song ever. Do you know what I mean? So talk
Yes,
to me
yeah.
about that sort of experience and that process a little bit.
That I'm gonna need some more cowbell, bro. That's that's like why I've got like two friends that I'm hanging on to, that I love so much, man. And they're just like that. Like, one of my friends, he's like lost a lot of his music and didn't publish it, and now he's like, oh, where is it? Like, can you do that from me? And it's actually try and get it from the other friend. And so it's like hilarious, but that's the friend who's like, he won't talk to me really, because like it's hard, it's difficult being my friend, and knowing that like I have a little bit of a learning disability. Like, when I was in elementary school, they got me with the Adderall, and um it's just not been, the best experience. So like, having a friend is a lot of times more important than, being successful, than like, identifying with who you are. And I mean, that is more important. And I feel like that's kind of like, that's a part of the like why they keep their music. If someone wants to like hold on to that and do that, it's just more intimate. It's about, their experience, their spiritual experience. I admire that, and but that's also the same reason that I've like published so much music. Is like I wanted to like learn this aspect of this industry, and be like good enough, or at least competent enough to like get into the writer's room with other people, like circle back on my broadcasting and radio, attempt. And I would argue that it was successful, that it's just an issue, that we're having with like a social issue, and it's like, kabbalistic nature, that we have, like these societies are hard to get into, but the technology and the paradigms keep changing, and I can be sour about that, or I can just, channel that into, my projects.
Yeah, it makes sense. Um, so what is the long-term vision? You talked about the record label. Would you where do you see us up in sort of 10 years time? Like if everything goes to plan, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Hopefully, just, I mean, I really can't tell. Like, I should still be around in 10 years. I think that we've got like some serious, like, impending culture, like issues, like our world culture. We're atomic. We've got to do that. So it's like I'm in this, whether I want to be or not. Like, I want to be socially active. Like, I consider myself a little bit of an activist, but it's like, um, it's just like it's weird. It's a weird competitive thing, music. So I don't know. I hope that it's like, in a couple years, like, in 10 years, I'll have like, at least like a little bit of a studio like area. I'll like co-own a studio with one of my friends, and we'll be working with these newer, companies, these Web3, entertainment or app developers, like video game developers too, for like, working with the new contracts, or like making an app that like we can um like take music out, like put music in, like we will cycle out the music, and it won't be like published. It will just be like exclusively on that app. It's really like getting to like the development stage, whereas like I'm working with like technical people, and that brand, it becomes a franchise. So I could be in Bali with Baron, or I could be in Evansville with Landon. Um, I just, like, as far as like, I can't really see what I mean. There's a lot of haze in front of me, so that's the best I
Interesting.
can answer there.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get over there to you though, man. I'm trying to see you work on those drums.
Absolutely. Um, okay. No, that's interesting. So
How old are you, bro?
I'm nearly 30. I'm 30 in Jan. So what sort of like message do you want people to take from your music? Because you talked a lot about like social culture and stuff, right? Are these themes that you're intending for people to kind of feel in your music? Is that kind of the intention of what you do?
Oh, say it again. I didn't hear, well, the last part about feeling the
Okay.
music.
Yeah, sorry. So you're talking a lot about like social themes and stuff like that. What sort of
Yeah.
message are you trying to portray and push from your music, or I guess what kind of impact you want your music and your releases to have?
Oh, it's a good one, man. I mean, it should talk for itself in a few years. It's really trying to like bring the sort of like community back. Is like, we're amazing creatures. We're divine. We're valuable, because like these systems that process, like, it revolves around us. So it's like just trying to bring value back to the human, and like respect, because there's a lot of like disrespect in the music industry. There's a lot of like objectivism of like yourself, or like women. There's a lot of like, promotion of like, consumerism, and that bad behavior. There's like a place that we went kind of astray. We got too vocal almost, and you can kind of simplify that. Still, you can use holy chants. You can investigate the Hare Krishna movement, and chanting Hare Krishna, and the value and the symmetry, that is you, and that you're producing constantly. Um, I want to help people get back in line, with that, and I can't really just like, I can't like do it. I mean, I can do it like with me, but it's like my music is like, it's just like it's just an impossible sale, man. You know.
What are like the biggest challenges that you face today in your musical journey? And I guess some of the biggest lessons that you've learned so far.
Bro, the hair. Got no idea. I'm serious though, man. It's just fucking hair. It's the hardest part, man.
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
Not.
Okay, what's some of the biggest lessons that you've learned today as well?
Um, lessons, bro. Man, um, music theory would have been a good one. I think I'm learning that one. But right now is marketing. So I'm working on a marketing plan. I'm diagnosing Apple Music and the value there with affiliate marketing. So I'm building I've learned that don't, tell people really many of your ideas, and especially if they're friends, don't press them for something that they're not ready to, engage you in, because that's how you lose friends. Like, you know,
Makes sense. So we're nearly out of time today. It's been great chatting. But is there anything else that you'd like to leave the audience with as we close out?
oh man, it's a good show, man. I was impressed, and I'm glad got to talk to you finally, man. I just say thanks, thanks for being English, and it's awesome, and I hope you guys hope you see me around someday. I've been to England and got some friends in Copenhagen. Much love, everybody.
Awesome. And where can people find you if they want to connect with you and listen to music and stuff like that?
Oh, my bad. Yeah, thanks, Dan. It's like my website's DOD-CCM, and then if you scroll down to the bottom, there's 4 forms there, and that's where you'll fill out and inform me on the project or the way that you want to interact with our project and our developing enterprise. Like it's basically I have an Indiana Buckley archive, and I have Chuck's Barnes NFTs. So these two guys, I'm gonna be working with them until this is over. But I'm hoping that you guys investigate. I'm hoping that we can turn this around kind of quickly, because there's incredible value, and these are AI, like it's on OpenSea, by the way, the Chuck's Barn uh NFTs. So it's like I make art and I make music, and it's like that's what I love doing. So if you can join me there, and if like you can find like a place of use for these NFTs and like a game and an application, I don't think that I would let you down. I don't think that it would be a regret. I feel like it would add value. At the same time, I'll continue because I got more links, bro. I've got like 2,000, like just 2,000 NFTs, and then I've got like 600 songs. But so those are mostly like saving like 120, 130 left now on like Spotify, Apple Music. Just would search my name. It's Christopher Cannon. Yeah. So like trying to work in a couple different ways. NFTs mostly. You can find some on Rarible too. That's the common. It's just COMMON, and there's some music in there. So like just hoping to meet you guys there, and see where that sort of technology, where that goes, that develops.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time, Chris. Really appreciate it.
All right. Yes, sir. See you later, Dan.
Nice one. Have a great day ahead.
Anytime, man. Email me. See you later. Bye.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
watching, everyone. See you next time.